What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mulder Life Podcast. We are live here Monday night, and we are here in the NCon studios, and I am excited to be here with you all this evening. Big shout out to our sponsors this week, Pave Tool Innovators, pavetool.com. Go check them out. Use the code Mulder Outdoors and save yourself 10% off anything that you order. And also, big shout out to Synced Up Project Management Software, syncedup.com. Go check them out. And as always, Albany's Candy Factory, the official candy of the Mulder Life Podcast. Guys, we're gonna take questions like we do every single week, and I'm excited to be here with you all. So if there's any questions that you have, sure to be sure to drop them in the comments below, and we'll talk about that. We talk about anything from landscaping, equipment, business, life. I am also streaming on YouTube again, and I would love to hear some feedback from anybody that's watching on YouTube about how the audio is. I'm trying a different type of way to get the audio over there, and I'm hoping that it's good. So if anybody is watching on YouTube, I'd love to hear if the audio is good or not. Yeah, I hope everybody had a good Easter. We had a good Easter. We were with family for the day and went to church in the morning, and it was really a nice weekend. But yeah, I'm looking at the YouTube comments here. I'll watch both platforms. That's what I'm doing now. So as long as this audio is good, my plan is to watch both comment sections, and audio sounds good on YouTube. Awesome. Thank you, SB Construction. That's awesome. I'm trying like a wireless microphone thing, like a DJI mic, and I actually think this is going to work out much better than what I was trying to do before. So before it just sounded like I was really, really far away. But anyways, yeah, we had a nice Easter over the weekend, and we were back at it this morning. We started a new job, which I typically don't do this type of thing. We started we've been on this bigger hardscape job since last year, and then we took a break through the winter, and then now we're back to it this spring. And the driveway they were getting a new driveway, and so we pulled off of there for a week and a half, maybe two. I don't know. We'll see how fast we get this other job done, but we had a job that really needed to get done by a certain time, really in June. So we had the whole month of May to do it, but we had this window of time to get this done, and so we decided to do it. So we pulled off of the job that we were working on, the big hardscape job, and while that allows the other contractors to get their work done, also allows the gas company to come and move the meter that they're going to come and move. And so then we went over this project, and this was a job that we were on last year in the summer, and it was a big pool remodel job and crazy tight access. And anyways, we did their whole backyard, whole pool surround, and it was really a beautiful project when we were done. And they wanted to have us do the front to match. So we went there today, and we tore out all of the landscaping in the front. We tore out all of the sod in the front. We tore out anything pretty much that was existing in the front yard, and we, like I said, stripped all the sod. We got all the junk hauled away. There was an old retaining wall we got rid of, old brick edging. I mean, actually, it was crazy. We started to dig our footings for the retaining walls, and, well, they're more like garden walls. I don't know if I'd call them retaining walls, but I guess they are. But anyways, we started excavating for it, and I dug down like 6 inches, and all of a sudden here's this brick edging that we didn't even know was there. It was crazy. I also uncovered their sewer clean out that was buried a foot in the dirt, and no one ever knew where it was. So I was actually really lucky that I didn't hook it with my bucket and crack it. But anyways, I was really happy that we didn't hit it, because that would have been brutal. But so we got started on that today. We have I was anticipating having a junky week of weather, but it looks like we're going to have some nice weather now. So today was just another windy day. We've had so many windy days here in Northwest Indiana. I don't know if anybody else around where you're at have noticed that. I have no idea if it really even matters. But the fact of the matter is, it's just been so stinking windy by us. It's crazy. Um, Anyways, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday are supposed to be nice and sunny and 70, and I'm very excited to very excited to have some nice 70-degree days um, to get some work done. So yeah, we got some material dropped off at our yard today for that project, and we'll bring that over there tomorrow and get going on that. Yeah, I had some questions from earlier today that were answered. There's also some questions from the last couple of weeks that we have never um, we never got to, and I thought, and there's a question that we're going to talk about that um, it's like something that's always talked about in the hardscape world, um, but it's been asked for 2 weeks, and I need to get to it. So somebody asked, and I didn't write down who it was, but what is my favorite poly sand, or what poly sands have I used? And I would say my favorite poly sand to date is Poly Sweep. I think it's by SEK Poly Sweep. I really like that poly sand. But we haven't been using poly sand very much, honestly. We've been using a lot of resin sands. So I've now tried regular nitro. I've tried Wet Lock, which I think is by SRW. I've tried the Nitro X. I have tried Easy Joint. And I have used, what was the other one that I've used? I don't know. There was one that Unilock used to sell. Maybe that was Easy Joint. I think it is Easy Joint. Whatever. Anyways, I've used a few different kinds. I've also tried, there's another one by, I think SEK makes one. And I tried that. I did like a sample area with that. And what it really came down, I actually loved the consistency of that product. It was very fine, but I didn't like the color. It was like a charcoal gray. It's very gray. It's not a black. And I don't think they like advertise it as a black. But anyways, I really like black poly sands because I think they look good all the time. They don't get dirty. They just look good. They look how they're supposed to look. So we pretty much exclusively put in black poly sand, no matter what, or black sands in our joint material. And so I guess, yeah, my favorite poly sand so far has been Poly Sweep. Sands that I've tried in the past, mostly Alliance type sands, Alliance brand. So the G1, is it G1? And then they came out with G2, which was an utter industry failure because of all the terrible joint issues that we had when I was using that, and I'll probably never use it again. They might have fixed it now, I don't know, but I have not used Alliance G2 ever since those horrible years where everybody had had like, it wouldn't get hard. It never got hard on any of the joints. It was just a nightmare. But then I did have a job where we did use it, and it did work really, really well. And I don't really know why it worked so well on that job. And frankly, I'm really glad it worked well on that job because it would have been a nightmare to fix it on that job. But there are several jobs where we had to take it all out and fix it. So anyways, yeah, I'm trying to think what other poly sands I've used. I honestly think that's the only two that I've used. So I've Alliance sands and Poly Sweep, and I really, really like them. So I really, really like Poly Sweep. So we have a whole palette of black. Actually, excuse me. I have a whole palette in our container. So yeah, we like Poly Sweep, and we like the black color, and it looks really nice, and that's what we use. So I often tell the clients, like, if you're wondering or worried about what black poly sand looks like, have you liked how the patio looks right now without any sand in it? And they're like, yeah, we think it looks beautiful. And I'm always like, that's how it's going to look with black sand, because the shadow line that the joints give you without poly sand is basically the exact same thing that you're going to get with the poly sand. So I think often people can overthink the color of the sand. But again, like if they want something different, that's totally fine. Yeah, so on Instagram, NG Lawn Care, what's going on, man? When you bury your downspouts for a hardscape project, what is your process? We typically use PVC schedule 35 or 40 and run it out to a pop-up emitter. Yeah, that's typically what we're doing. We use why can't I? SDR, sorry. Too many. SEK, SRW, PVC, so many different letters. Anyways, we use SDR piping, SDR 35, pretty much for everything. I've never had an SDR pipe crush under a patio ever. I have used Schedule 40 under driveways and stuff if we're going to do something like that, but other than that, I use SDR piping, sewer pipe basically, for all of our downspout lines. So, and we typically will run it out to a pop-up. If we can run it to daylight, we'll run it to daylight. Every single project is different, really. It just depends. Yeah, so I don't get Schedule 40 for under the patio and then change it after that. Like all the downspout fittings are like made to fit sewer pipe. So like it would really suck to like change from Schedule 40 to SDR 35 or whatever you want to call it. It would be a pain in the butt to switch back and forth just to get to the downspout, or to like the pop-up emitter is made to fit onto a SDR pipe. So that's what we use for everything. And like I said, I have never had a failure on a patio or had a pipe crush. We like to bed our pipe in either number 9s or HPB or whatever you want to call it, chips. We try to do a lot of pipe bedding. Actually, more and more I'm doing that more and more just because I think it does a really good job. I'm going to have a few of these gummies. I have a bag. I didn't even talk about this. I have a bag of these are the original 12 flavors. These are the OGs, and they're super good. NG Lawn Care LLC says black poly sweep is fire. Inca Stone says poly sweep SEK is good stuff. I agree. Earthworks Landscaping, what's up, buddy? It says, plus every sand turns black eventually anyways. Yes, that's basically what I tell our customers, and I let them know that they'll be happier if they go with the black sand. They will feel like they have less maintenance. I think it's probably not talked about enough, and I have really tried lately with customers. These gummies are so good. I don't eat these during the week, so like if you think like I'm driving around with this 2-pound bag of gummies just eating them all the time, I don't. So once a week, I come in here and I eat these gummy bears because they're amazing. But anyways, I've been trying to do a better job with my customers of like talking with them about like the realities of a patio. Like, listen, your patio is going to look the best and perform the best if you keep it clean. So the more that you let environmental debris build up on top of the patio or in the corners or on the joints or whatever, the worse it's going to quote unquote perform. Now, it's going to be fine, but it's going to look better, blowing it off, keeping it clean. Like, it's really important to do that type of thing. There's a lot of jobs, I would say it's crazy actually, a fair amount of projects that we maintain after we install. But nonetheless, the ones that we don't, meaning that when we're there, we're blowing off the patio weekly, those kinds of things. But it's just important to communicate that with your customers, that you need to keep the patio clean, blowing things off, cleaning off environmental debris. All that stuff builds up on those joints, builds up in the corners. and I don't care what kind of paver you have, like you leave stuff somewhere long enough with enough water and rain and all that stuff, and you can get some staining on the pavers and that kind of thing. And so it's just better um, to keep it clean as much as you can. It's projects that are in wooded areas can be tricky because there's just always stuff falling, especially in a heavy rain, or what, you're not running out there in the rain and blowing stuff off. But it's just good practice then the next morning to go out there and blow it off. I mean, even with concrete, I mean, you can't. If you had a concrete pad and you let a bunch of leaves sit on it, and and then it rains, it's gonna stain the concrete. Now, I have found like that stuff comes off over time. Like it's not like it's there forever. So um, I really do. I think eventually it stains, and then they're like, oh no, it's staining, but like give it some time, it comes off. But anyways, um, I don't know where we were going with that, but I guess we were just talking about joint material and um, sands and that stuff. So I actually had I might as well just talk about this, whatever. I had a resin sand issue today that I've never had before. Um, this was with an SRW wet lock product that we installed last year on the job that we're on right now. And the client told me that they saw they were washing off the patio or something. I don't know what they were doing. It doesn't matter. And the sand came out of one of the joints. And I'm like, he called me about that. I'm like, oh, that's really strange. Like, normally that stuff is like bulletproof. Like, you can take a pressure washer up to it and it ain't coming out. And he's like, yeah, it like came right out of the joint. And I'm like, that's really weird. I didn't like that. So today when we got started there, it's on the job that we're working on today, we use SRW wet lock for that job. And I had never used it before on another job. So this was, I'm like, okay, well, what is this about? So uh, I looked at it today and I went under the deck and looked at it. And that's where the spot was. And I'm like, okay, so it's under the deck, no sun, no problem with airflow at all, but still no sun. And it was relatively near the drain that we installed. Where we put this drain is we had very minimal slope. So it totally drains, but it's not like it's 2% running right to this drain. So, maybe there could be water, it's a wetter area. It stays wetter longer because there's no sun, those kinds of things, right? So I'm just looking around. So I take my razor blade and I'm like poking the joints, and I can see where the sand came out of the one. And I'm like, okay, that's really weird. It's very around that paver specifically. It's very like I could push my knife right through the sand. I'm like, well, I don't really like that. But then I look all over the rest of the patio, and I could only in that general area I could find maybe 2 or 3 pavers that it was like that in the joints. And the rest of it was like rock solid. Even under the deck, there was other areas that it was like rock solid. And and I don't know. I don't know why. It's very interesting to me. The rest of the patio, it looks awesome and it's great. And I could take a hose on like the stream setting and just sit there right on the joint and nothing comes out, right? But for some reason in this area, we have some of this issue. And so the only thing I can think of is maybe we got a bad bucket. I don't know. I called my rep. I called the dealer that I bought it from. They called the rep. I sent them some videos and some pictures and stuff. And so I'm interested to hear what the rep has to say about it. I don't know. I've never dealt with an SRW rep, so I'm not really sure. I don't know anything about it. So I hope that this is not like an issue, or if it just like is a one-off thing, because I've had absolutely zero issues with resin sands when we've used them. But this was the only job that I've used SRW wet lock on, and now I have this weird, very consolidated issue. It's not all over the patio. So I don't know. I'll if you guys want, I can keep you posted on what happens with that. I'm not sure what will transpire from that, but ultimately we're going to fix this issue, of course. But I'm not going to I'm not going to come to any conclusions right now until I hear from the rep, and maybe he'll come out and look at it, and yeah, I don't know. I've never had an issue with nitro. I never had an issue with easy joint, so it'll be interesting to see what comes of this problem that we found. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I love if anybody's listening or watching live that has used the SRW wet lock and has had any kind of issues. I would love to hear about it, um, and I'm sure anybody else that wants to use those types of sands would like to hear. I think there's always an opportunity. I already know how the conversation is going to go. It's in a under a deck near where water flows a lot. Not a lot of sun, if any sun, in this area. So I'm sure that's what I'm sure that's what they're going to tell me. Like, oh well, it just didn't dry enough because didn't have enough, whatever, sunlight or airflow or whatever. I don't know. Either way, we're going to fix it, so it doesn't really matter. Synced up. What up, Weston? He says, I know Tussie uses SRW Wetlock. Okay, that's really good to know. I'm going to reach out to Matt tomorrow and ask him if he's had any issues with it because I haven't really talked to many people that have used it, so I will reach out to them and see if they've had any kind of issues. So, Nolan Datama, am I saying your name right? Says, Happy Easter, Mulder Outdoors. Happy Easter to you and to everybody that's listening. I'm very thankful for what Christ did on the cross for us. And we definitely celebrated that yesterday, so that's great. Yeah, so that answers that question. Another question from earlier today is bar box or cutting station or both? And that was a good question. I have a cutting station that I bought from Jeremy Swihart. He built one for me, and I mean, I paid him for it, but he built one and I bought it. And I haven't used it yet. So it's sitting in our yard, and I haven't used it. So, excuse me. I have, though, used the bar box, and we have one, and I love it. I think it's so freaking sweet. The bar box you can get at Pave Tool Innovators, and you mention my name, and you will probably save some money by mentioning my name when you order. It is if you don't know what it is, it's a big 7 foot, I think it's 7 foot long by, I don't know, 36 inches wide by 36 inches tall. Don't quote me on the measurements. I'm just guessing roughly what it is. And it's just a giant job site toolbox. It's all steel, has a big lid that opens, has a shelf inside. It has E-track on it. It's just got a ton of space in it. So we set one up last fall. I spent a lot of time messing around with my bar box and spending a bunch of money. I spent way too much money setting that thing up. But it is sick. And it's kind of like a mini job trailer that you can just put on the truck and go and do jobs with. And it has a lot of what you need in it to do a hardscape job, really. And some different repair things. Like, I don't have tons of irrigation parts, but we have a couple repair couplers and those kinds of things. We have some lighting repair stuff. Nothing crazy, but just enough to do a few things. Lasers, toolbox, drills, sawzalls, a couple of hand tools, grade rod, pave tool grade rod, one of the best tools they sell. All kinds of awesome stuff fits in there, and I really, really like the bar box. I think it's awesome. So I can only speak from experience in saying that I would get the bar box first, but the reason that I think I haven't implemented the cutting station quite yet is because we don't have a shop. So, like, for me to take that on and off of a truck, I have nowhere to go with it after that, like when we get back to the yard. So I don't want that sitting out in the yard, just sitting out in the weather. That just doesn't make sense. It needs to get taken off of a truck and then brought into the shop, right? So it's just, I think that's ultimately the goal, would be to have something like that set up where you could grab the bar box and grab the cutting station, and you could go and do whatever you want to do. But and then you take it off and you bring it into the shop and it sits on a pallet rack or whatever. I think that would be awesome. But I think until we have our shop built, I don't think that we're going to implement it to its fullest, that's for sure. And my guys really like the job trailer. They really do, and it's worked well for us. And I don't know, it has worked really well for us. I really think, like, once we get the shop, I do think we're going to change how we do different things, because it's opening up new opportunities and storage things, and we'll have places to put everything. I don't know. I bought something for the shop this week that I'm really excited about. I've been kind of like accumulating the big things you need for a big shop, right? And I bought another piece to that puzzle yesterday. Well, Saturday, actually. I paid for it today. It's shipping this week. And I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to fill this building that we use, this building that I'm in right now, where we film the podcast, where we can work on things. I've talked about this many times. It's my sister-in-law's property. It's her building. They don't use it for anything, and so they let me kind of take over it and use it. And I finished it all off. I put heat in it. I put a concrete floor in it. I put a new roof on it. It needed a ton of work. We put like 30 grand into the building, I think. I think that's what I had into it before I bought tools and outfitted it. But anyways, I spray foamed the whole thing. It's a sick building. It's a little 30 by 40, but it has been such a blessing to our business. But anyways, I think what's gonna end up happening is I'm gonna keep getting things, getting prepared, getting what we need, and it's all gonna get filled up in this building and stored here, and then we're going to move it. So like, I have a man lift. I bought a snorkel man lift from United Rentals. We rehabbed the whole thing, sanded it down, painted it. It's awesome. So we have that. I have an air compressor, which this air compressor is kind of cool. This was my dad's air compressor, the last air compressor I had before he died, and I'm excited that I have that. It's like an 80-gallon Ingersoll and Rand air compressor that he bought. This was probably 2 or 3 years before he died, and I am going to utilize that in the new shop, so that's cool. I have my hot seat pressure washer. I have a natural gas pressure washer that we bought, and we're going to be able to use that, and I'm going to have some kind of fabricator make me like a shelf that it sits way up in the ceiling and then gets piped out. It'll have an exhaust. It'll be hard piped in with natural gas, and then it has like a remote that you can put down lower with like a reel and everything. It's going to be so sick. It's a super nice hot seat, and I'm really excited to have that thing set up. And then I just bought a floor scrubber. I bought a Tenant ride-on floor scrubber. I recently sold one of my trucks. Saturday I sold my 2008 Ford F-250 truck with plow and salt spreader on it. I sold that whole setup, and I used some of that money to buy my floor scrubber. So it's a refurbished Tenant. It's like a 36-inch wide or something. I don't know. It's a ride-on floor scrubber. I'm so excited for it. And then I'm in deep looks for a forklift. That's the next big thing that I need for the building, is a forklift. And so I've been looking at all different kinds. I've kind of narrowed down the 2 brands that I want to get. I either want to get a Toyota or a TCM, I think is the brand, TCM, which I believe is made by Nissan. And I want it to be pneumatic so that it can go into the stone if I wanted to. And I also would love non-marring tires and probably a 5,000 or 6,000 pound capacity. So I've been looking all over them for Marketplace for these types of things. and doing research and talking to different people, and that's kind of what I've decided to narrow my search in. I have one that I really want to go look at, about an hour away, but I just don't have the time to go look at it, so I may end up losing that one. But I'll tell you, there is so many forklifts on Marketplace. It's freaking nuts. Um, and if anybody's listening that has experience with forklifts or would tell me what brand to get or what brand not to get, I'd love to hear from you. I was looking at a really nice Heister, but after watching a bunch of YouTube videos and stuff, people said don't. I watched some mechanic videos of guys that like rated forklifts for ones that they work on a lot or have a lot of issues with, and a lot of people said stay away from the Heister. But I don't know. I mean, there's so many of them out there. You can't tell me that they're all junk. That's just no way. That's true. Um, so I don't know. The one that I was looking at was very nice. It was almost new. It was way more money than I wanted to spend on a forklift. But if the guy, I made him an offer. If he decides to come down on to my offer, then maybe I would buy it. But I really don't need to spend that much on a forklift. It was too new. But whatever. I mean, if he decides to take my offer, I may strongly consider it. But like I said, I don't think that he's going to accept my offer. It was significantly less than what he was asking for it. Esteban Luis says, greetings, see you from Guatemala. Greetings, Andy. Wow, that's really cool. Thanks for tuning in. Nolan says, I'm looking to buy a new saw to cut retaining wall block. What do you recommend? Well, I guess it depends. What kind of block are you wanting to cut? How thick of a block? How deep do you want it to cut? Do you want it to be a table saw? We do a lot of retaining wall block cutting with a demo saw or a partner saw or a concrete saw, whatever you want to call it. It just depends on what kind of block you're mostly cutting, I guess. Action Outdoor Services says, he says, did you find an employee? You were hiring a position. Yeah, I was looking for a hardscape and landscape foreman. I did hire someone. Somebody that has a really good work ethic and a good passion for the industry, and somebody that I think we could train into becoming the foreman. They have a lot of experience, 5+ years of experience, and they came and worked for us. This person came and worked for us for a day, and I really, really liked him. I liked his attitude and his job site presence, and I think that it's going to be a really, really good fit. I'm excited about it. And he starts in maybe another week or two, maybe 3 weeks. I can't remember. Maybe 2 weeks. But anyways, very excited about that. I had another employee that his last day was today, so said goodbye to him. We left on good terms. It's no big deal. So yeah, it's just how it goes. I don't know. I can't. I've struggled with. So I was on the deep look for somebody that had a massive amount of experience and really wanted to come in instantly as the leader. And what I found was, and I don't know if this is my own fault for like the way the ad was written. I don't really know. I found that I was either finding people that didn't have enough experience but were looking to make a bunch of money, or people that had experience but they were at the point that this is what they would say to me. They were at the point in their career where they didn't want to be on their hands and knees working every day. So they wanted to be more managerial and just project management kind of a thing, but not so much like get in the weeds and working. And I need somebody that is willing to get in there and do something. I can't have somebody that is just only going to sit there and either be in the machine or tell people what to do or project manage. I'm not at that level yet. So that was what I kept finding, those two extremes. So again, not enough experience, but was just wanting to make a bunch of money, but they couldn't really back that up, or they were at the point in their lives where they didn't want to get in there and work hard and cut brick and those kinds of things. Because what we're willing to pay somebody that had a ton of experience or that kind of thing, I was attracting that, I believe, that caliber of person, which is great. But anyways, I ended up finding this person, and I just started thinking about it. And I'm like, what is that? Like a fly? I just started thinking, like, I want somebody that is hungry. I want somebody that is excited about this industry and likes new things and likes technology and is interested in how we want to do things in a different way than what has been done for so many years as far as efficiency and equipment and those kinds of things. And I decided to hire somebody that had the character traits that I was looking for more so than the experience, so to speak. And I think that it will pay off to do that. I really do. I think that, I don't know. I felt better about it, and I feel at peace about the decision that I made, and may end up being wrong, and we're just going to find out and see. But in the meantime, I'm excited to have this new person start and join our landscape crew, and see how the coming years go with that. And as this person grows and learns and kind of blends into our team, because that's another thing, right? You need somebody that is a team player, because this person is going to be coming into a crew that has worked together for a while, and you have to earn the respect of that crew. You're not just going to come in and just tell them what to do. It's not how it. I'm very nervous about that. I'm interested to see how that's going to go, and regardless of the person, I just think it's going to take time to blend everybody together, and that's, I guess, the thing that I'm the most nervous about. Calico Partner says, I have experience in not murdering trees. What's up, buddy? Oh, man. Promo Landscape, what's going on? He says, I just bought a 3K at an auction. I have a place for you to look. He's talking about a forklift. That's awesome. Yeah, man, let me know. He bought a 3K Yale from an auction. I have a place for you. Forklift heaven. Sick. Let's see it. Barrow Landscape says, Heister is not a bad brand. Large retailers use the crap out of them. MH Equipment is a great Heister dealer. Several locations in central Indiana and Illinois. Oh, okay. MH Equipment. I'll have to look into that and see what that's all about. Collins Chicago says, how many employees do you have? We have, as of today, we have 5 employees, but we will be going back up to 6. I had 6 this morning, and now I have 5, and I'll be going back up to 6 in another 2 weeks. My computer says, do you want to restart? No, I want to wait an hour. Thank you. Action Outdoor Services, tough find. Hope everything works out with the new guy. Thank you. Me too. Johnston Construction Co. says, you need someone with at least 2 divorces and multiple child support payments, addicted to cigarettes is a plus. Must have. Oh my goodness. Action Outdoor Services, experience comes with time and a good teacher. Attitude is hard to teach. Yeah, and that's kind of what I went back to was I wanted someone with the right attitude and someone with the right work ethic and passion for the industry and what we're doing and excited about this work. And that's really what I wanted. And I'll be the first to admit I do not think that I'm the best teacher. I have found actually that I struggle with it. I struggle with taking the time to teach. I get too rammy and I get too, my phone rings 5 times while I'm trying to do something, and then something's not going fast enough, and I need to work on patience. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that can relate to that. I just want to get the job done, and which we get a lot of work done, but sometimes it's too. I don't get out of the way and sit and teach. I just do. Um, and I really, really need to work on that. I really do. I think that's a flaw that I really need to get better about. Um, and I have found when I mentally say, okay, this has to be a teaching time, you have to slow down, you have to give this person time to learn this. It's not going to happen as fast. Um, when I take the time to stop and say, okay, this is what it's going to be, I think I do better. But um, it's hard. It's really hard to take the time and teach something because it takes you longer, obviously. Um, I don't really struggle with like things breaking or frustrations about things breaking. I don't. I've gotten past that because it's stuff's just gonna break, and that's why we charge what we charge, so we can fix the things that are gonna break, and you have to be able to fix it. And so I don't really struggle with that. Um, I just I really think it comes down to having the patience and just taking the time out of my day to show somebody how to do something. And but I will say, like, I have been able to watch then somebody go and do something that I taught them, and it is very rewarding. And so I need to remember that, like, you have to, speaking to myself, you have to take the time to show this person how to do this so that you don't have to do it every time. And I just have to be better about it. It's hard. Um, I don't know. I'd love to hear from you guys if there's anybody else that struggles with that. Um, but then, of course, having someone that is willing to be taught and has a good attitude about it, I think that helps too. But on YouTube, Ben Steffen says someone who is willing to learn and eager will go way farther than someone that has skills and is content. I thoroughly agree with that, and that's pretty much what I came down to in the hiring process. Was I was looking for this unicorn person, um, and I think the best thing to do is to create the unicorn person, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I need to mentally take the time from the beginning to teach everything and not just trial by fire and throw them into the wolves and hopefully it works out. Because I could run that person out of the company because they just can't stand that style of learning. So it's just important that, and I'm telling everyone that, but I'm also more so telling myself, it's important to, um, it's just important to take the time to teach. Action Outdoor Services says, and then they leave you. Well, I think that is something that can happen and will happen throughout my career, and I have to get used to that. After all, I worked for somebody for 13 years, learned a bunch of stuff, and then left myself as well. And here I am today talking about that same problem. And um, I think it's more, I left where I was working not so much because I wanted to do it for myself. It was because I needed to make more money, and I wanted more responsibility, and I wanted a lot of things, but I wasn't getting them at where I was working. And so I've really tried to be better about that with my team, and especially with the pay scale and all that stuff. But then you do things, you keep raising the pay scale, and you have to keep raising your rates, right? And so then I lost an account this week that is a big account, and I lost it because of price. But I'm not paying my guys $18 an hour anymore, or like those days. I'm not. It's not how it is. You know what I mean? Um, I or $15 an hour, whatever you want to call it, right? It's not like that anymore, and I don't want to pay people like that. I want to pay, as people gain experience and gain knowledge, and I want to pay them good money. And with that, you have to charge enough money to be able to pay people that. And so, um, I'm trying to be on the high end of pay scales for everything, and and we will then remain at the high end of pricing jobs in general. And I'm okay with that. I don't need every single job, so um, I don't know. What else, guys? Do you have any other questions you want to talk about? There's some other things that we could talk about from previous questions, but if you guys have any questions you want to talk about, let me know. Action Outdoor Services says, you have inspired me to thrive, to pay employees living wages, change the name of the industry. Yeah, and I, you have to do it. I think everybody, I think as an industry, we have to raise pay scales, and you attract better people. You pay living wages. I just think that there's no reason that we can't be paying. That everybody has to. You can't just raise your pay to people without raising your rates to your customer, and that comes back to knowing all kinds of things. You have to know your numbers, just like synced up project management software. You have to have something like that to be able to help you understand your numbers. You have to look at it. If you don't want to spend that much money on that kind of a program, go to howtopricemyjob.com. It's a thing that me and Weston put together that's very cheap. I think it's $200 it's like 3 hours long, and it will walk you through how to find some of these things out and dip your feet in starting to understand how to understand your numbers. And there's free calculators that you get with it. There's special websites that you get with it that you don't get anywhere else. Um, it's a huge value. So, but you have to start doing that stuff so you can charge enough money to be able to pay enough money. Precision Outdoor NC says, if you were trying to grow your business from a 1 to 2 man operation that requires you in the field full time, what positions would you fill first? I think it's very easy for me to say, like, oh, just go hire a foreman, or oh, go hire a laborer, or whatever you want to say. But I think what's important to understand is, like, what do you want to do in the company? Because that's what I've been struggling with for the last year, really, is what do I want to do in my company? Where do I want to be, and what am I the best at? And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've figured that out, because I don't think I have figured that out yet. But those are the questions I've been asking myself. Where am I the most useful at, and what don't I like to do? And those types of things. I don't like to work in the office, so I have people that work in the office. I love to work in the field, but I know that I'm probably the most profitable for the company if I'm out there selling and talking to customers and project managing. Not necessarily installing, but project managing and the customer relationship and designing and those kinds of things, which I think the designing ultimately I don't need to do ultimately myself, but the project management and customer relations and selling, I think that's probably where my time is best spent. But I don't know, right? And somebody might say my time is best. I want to be a foreman, and I want to hire everybody else in my company to do everything else, and that's totally fine. You can do that. And he also says, my current situation is myself as the foreman and a helper. I'm trying to grow my company to where I don't have to be the one doing everything anymore. Would you focus on hiring installers first? Yeah, I probably would. If that's what you want, then you need to hire somebody that you can train up and keep teaching and slowly let the rope out and let them start doing something on their own, because that's what I did for 10 years, and then I lost the person that I had spent all that time doing, and so I kind of kicked myself for not spending more time with other people. But that's the circle of that's going to happen, and you have to be constantly hiring and constantly training. I really think that's what it ultimately comes down to, because I don't think anybody is there forever. I just don't think so. Action Outdoor Services is going to use a Unilock lift, a Unilift tomorrow for the first time. Have you used them and any experience? I used one time at a show. I've never used one on an actual job site. I think they're cool. I think they're cool. I think they're awesome. But for me, they don't spin 360 degrees, which I think stinks. And the reach is not enough. Like you can't like screed out a giant patio and then lay with a Unilift. You have to do it in sections. And I just don't. I think that the excavator with the jib is, for us, is light years better than the Unilift. I like how ergonomic it is and how like smooth it is, and it's probably safer than the jib setup. But at the end of the day, like I can't stand that you can't go all the way around, and I just don't think the reach is very good. Now I know that I've seen all kinds of pictures now of this one that can go on a mini skid, and then you drive the mini skid on top of your pavers, and the idea of that sounds wonderful, but I'm telling you, like, you get one rock underneath that plywood and you turn with that machine and it slides the plywood and then scratches your pavers. And I don't know, like I just think of the logistics of that, right? So even if you're driving that mini skid on a paver, on what you've laid to keep laying, that's all wonderful. But you still have to be able to get the pallet of material close enough to where you're working to be able to reach it with the Unilift to lay. So then how are you getting the pallets close enough? Like, I don't know. I've known several people that have bought one and then sold it because they just couldn't utilize it enough. And I'm over here sitting here with an excavator that we're using for all sorts of things, but then we also are laying pavers with it. So like, I don't know. But you know, it has different size heads, and I get all that. There's ups and downs for sure, and or goods and bads, and pros and cons, whatever you want to talk about it. But I don't know. I don't think I would ever buy one. I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to trying one on a job site, but we're so dialed in with like the excavator and a jib setup, like it just works and we just get it. Yeah, I don't know. Barrel Landscaping says, I am horrendous at vetting projects and saying no to the projects I do not want. What is the first step in changing my mindset and process of vetting projects? That's a really good question. That is a really good question. How do I do that? I think I said no to a project today, somebody that stopped by our job site and wanted me to come look at a job, and they were making it sound like it was this great project and I really needed to come look at it. And he wanted my card and he wanted to talk about it, and then he said, I said, okay, well, you know, sir, that sounds like a really cool project. Where is it? He's like, oh, it's in this town. It's like 30 minutes farther this way. And I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, we don't go that far. I'm not going that far. But in the past, I'd be like, oh, okay, maybe I'll come look at it and check it out. And like, just because I'm not good at saying no. But this time I'm like, no, sorry, sir, I don't go that far. That's too far for us. He goes, oh man, are you sure you sure you don't want to come look at it? Like, I love your work. I think it looks really awesome. I'd love to have you come look at it. And like typically I would be easily talked into that, but I don't know if it's just more time doing what I do to know that most of the time something like that ends up not being worth my time. And so I just stick to my first reaction is no, I don't go too far. But then my mind's like, my heart's like, oh man, well, we kind of need some more work. I should go look at it. No, we don't go that far. That would have been 55 minutes from my shop by the time we get to the 50, almost an hour. No, sorry, sir. I appreciate the opportunity, but we don't go that far. It's outside of our working radius. And I did it. And and then I wasn't upset about it all. I was like, sweet. Like, I'm glad I didn't give into that because I would give into that sort of thing. And I think it just comes with time and really knowing that you have to be confident in what you want and where you want to do it and who you want to work for. And you have to trust that. But it's not easy. I'm not a pro at it. I just know that I've said yes to too many things, and the more that I say no to things, the less stressed and the better the outcome. Because every time I've said yes to something that I probably should have said no to, it ends up being something that I regret doing, or spending the 2 hours going to look at this project when I know full well that it wasn't the right thing for us. Like, what am I doing, right? So I don't think I have any golden answers for you except just trust your instincts and just try it. And then once you try it and you're able to say no to something, um, you will get better at it. Like it's like a muscle you have to train and work at. You really do. So, um, yeah, guys, I think we're gonna wrap this one up. Coming up in an hour, and I really appreciate all the questions and the conversation tonight. I thought it was a really good episode, and I think that the audio situation that we did for YouTube tonight seemed to work really well. Nobody was complaining about the audio, so that's great. I want to thank our sponsors this week, Pave Tool Innovators, pavetool.com. Go check them out. Don't forget our user code. And syncedup.com. Go check out their project estimating software, time tracking, all of that. Go check it out. And Albany's Candy Factory, the official candy of the Motor Life Podcast. Guys, thank you for tuning in to the Motor Life Podcast, coming to you from the NCon studios, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks.